guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you.
The first story is titled I Wasted a Karen's Time and Maybe Broke Her Brain. So this happened last Thursday. I was at Home Depot getting jumper cables. I was wearing a blue shirt, so no idea why this Karen thought I worked there, but ours is not to reason why. I am looking around for jumper cables, my brain kind of in low power mode. When I hear tell me where the fuses are, I do a half turn and say, "Aw what?" This woman about mid-50s yells at me, "Speak English you." Insert Mexican slur here. Keep in mind I am white, like super white. But ours is not to reason why. So I admit to having some voice acting skills and a twisted sense of humor. So I answered her in a Mexican accent that was maybe one step above Speedy Gonzales. In my defense, I didn't have time to prepare a better voice. I say, "Oh sorry mea la punta. How can I help you? Where are the fuses? I need them for my house." Me. "Are the fuses for your house or your car?" Her. "I just said they are for my house." Me. "Okay, I can show you." I then led this woman around the store. As a rule, Home Depot is huge. I would get to one aisle, look around, say something like, "Oh, they must have moved them. They must be over dear." Good thing I was wearing a mask to hide my crap-eating grin. After maybe 10 or 12 minutes of this, she finally calls me out, saying how I am the worst, most ignorant employee here. And to be fair, she had a point. She then of course demanded to talk to a manager. I said, "He is at the front desk, but I come with her because I have to keep helping customers." Her. "Where is your name tag? I am going to get you fired." Me. "Oh no, I forgot my name tag. Me llamo Miguel with a Y." She stormed off. I almost forgot to get jumper cables before I left. I did get them. Then headed to self-checkout. When I get to the checkouts, Karen is still yelling at the front desk. I am barely keeping together as she yells about Miguel with a Y. Karen sees me and point. "That's him, Miguel with a Y. Fire him now." Then the best part. The manager starts to reprimand me. I mean, how bad is employee turnover that he doesn't know someone does not work there? I then answer in my normal flat Midwest white guy voice, "Sorry, what's this about? I don't work here and just came in for jumper cables." The manager looked confused, didn't really say anything. Her brain just stopped, I guess. Karen hears my voice, starts screaming not even real words. Did an angry Karen dance. I managed to not bust out laughing, which I think means I should get an Oscar or something. I buy the cables, say to no one really, "Wow, this never happens at Lowe's," and walk out. The next story is titled Helpless in the Asian Market. I've frequented our local Asian market for a few years now and have become very familiar with all their offerings. I've also worked retail for 20 years and I think customer service is so deeply ingrained in my being that I just can't help myself. There was a couple, likely college age, trying to make sense of the ramen section, and when they looked up and saw me, confidently dumping my favorites in my basket, they asked for my help. I knew it was obvious I didn't work there, but the majority of the staff there speaks minimal English, so it's hard to find what you want if you're unfamiliar with the store. I helped them by showing them some of my favorites and even showed them the cappuccino candies that my husband and I are fond of. I'm hoping they had a great experience and the Asian market has some new regulars. The next story is titled I Don't Work Here, Good Ending. There's this Adidas outlet that's pretty close to my house. I used to get a lot of my soccer gear there and just look around for any good deals, but since it was pretty small, anything was usually already gone or not in my size. Anyways, the store gets pretty busy around the holidays since that's when all the good sales happens. Obviously I and many others go into the outlet trying to buy some clothes. The sale at the time was 50% off the whole store, but a lot items in the wall aren't included for the discounts normally, so I double-checked with one of the employees if the items on the wall were on sale and they said yes. Honestly, that was like music to my ears. So I'm just looking around for a present for my with some soccer gear in my hands when I get a light tap on my shoulder and I hear a faint, excuse me. I turn around and see a man and his friend looking at me and they ask me if everything on the wall was on sale. So I respond with, "Yeah, everything on the walls are on sale, but you should probably double check with an employee." And unsurprisingly, they acted like an actual human being. Just surprised and slightly embarrassed that they were wrong about me being an employee. They apologized and left. No, I'm gonna get your manager, shenanigans, or threatening to get me fired. I don't know why I get mistaken for being an employee. I don't even wear Adidas that often, but I guess I just seem like I work there since it's happened 4 or 5 times since then, but I usually just tell them I don't work here and they just go find an actual one. Honestly, I should probably just work there so that I can actually make money if I do end up helping some of the other customers out. The next story is titled Neighbor Parks His Car and Blocks My Exit. Don't mess with a woman scorned. This happened about 5 years ago when I moved into a wheelchair-friendly unit. I'm a 29-year disabled female in a wheelchair. The unit complex I live in has 20 units, upstairs and down, but only half of the tenants have assigned parking. I have a car space, but this neighbor didn't. It took a while for tenants to get used to this. It was a brand new complex and the tenants all moved in at the same time. But one of them, let's call him Dick, either didn't get it or didn't care. He would constantly park in my car space, and every time I confronted him about it, he claimed not to know, but he'd park there anyway. I informed the landlords about this and they sent out constant letters until he finally got the message. But did he park on the street? Nope. He started to park his car along the driveway, sometimes blocking my exit. To get out of my door I go down a ramp and then turn onto the driveway, but he would park his car and block my exit. There was no back exit, so this was my only way to exit my place. I told the landlords about this and the council parking officer in hopes they could make him stop doing this. I confronted Dick a few times and told him not to do this and warned him that his car might get damaged if I try to get my wheelchair around it. But did he listen? Nope. One glorious day when I needed to leave, I saw his car parked halfway across my exit. There was just enough room for me to get around, but I knew I would scrape the side of his car with the side of my power wheelchair if I tried to get around it. I had two options: stay home and miss my appointments or try and get around his car. I went with option B. Before you have a go at me for damaging his car, it was an old beat-up tin can that already had some scratches on it. What's one more? When I got home, his car was still parked there, so I called a tow truck company and told them there was a car parked illegally, blocking access to my home. I don't like using my disability to my advantage, but I'd had enough. The call went something like this. Me. Hello. Yes. I'm so sorry to bother you, but I'm in a wheelchair and I can't get into my house because there's a car parked there. It's my neighbor and he won't stop parking there. I need to get inside. OMG, what? What's the address? We'll be right there. 10 minutes later, the tow truck arrived. He saw the car and me, stuck out in the driveway with tears, dramatized for effect, in my eyes. Not long before the driver was about to tow the car away, Dick came out screaming, "Wait. What are ya doing? That's my car." The rest was Dick yelling inaudible sentences asking why his car was being towed and threatening to sue the tow truck company. Based on the crapfest of a tin can he calls a car, he didn't have a leg to stand on. He moved away about 2 years ago, but in the remaining time he lived there, he parked his car on the street. The next story is titled Foreigner Racist Karen and Her Kid Thought I Am an Employee Just Because I'm an Asian Guy in Bali. This happened about 2 weeks ago, before the new year, I think 26 or the 27th of December 2021, when I was on a vacation in Bali. Before you guys ask, I am a Chinese descent Indonesian guy from Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia, so I don't even look like a local. Also, disclaimer, even though tourism is allowed, wearing a mask every time, both indoor and outdoor, social distancing, etc. is still compulsory, except when you're eating in the country. And a 14-day quarantine if you're a foreigner wanting to visit. So most foreigners here are the ones who are already working, living in the country or stuck due to COVID travel restriction. I was accompanying my mum and grandma at H&M buying clothes since they were having a discount there. Not long after, this Australian kid, about 10 years old, and her mother, early 30s, came to the store without wearing their mask. The mall security told them to wear it, but they were being a Karen and scolded the security mall, but finally wore them after the security said he will need to kick them off the building and called the cops. But, after they went to the store, the kid immediately removed his mask and came to me and started asking me, "Where is the kid's size?" I was like, "What?" And he said, "Do you have kid size?" I was confused since I'm not even a local from the area and just told him, "I'm not an employee here." The kid looks at me confused and left. I continued looking for clothes with my mum and grandma. Not long after, about 2 minutes later, the kid came back with his mother and she was kinda pissed and asked me with a little high-pitched noise and asking again, "Do you have a kid-size t-shirt for my son? You're an employee here and you should help your customer." I was like, "Ma'am, I don't work here, I am a local tourist. The employees are the ones wearing a black shirt with black pants. And then she just said, "Whatever, I thought because you're Asian you're an employee," and goes away to the cashier to ask for people who works at the shop. I am wearing a Martini Porsche polo shirt at the time, and the employees are wearing black shirt, pants, and formal shoes. And then when my mum was finished and I paid at the cashier, I asked about the foreigner kid and lady there, when turns out the cashier is the manager of the place and told me that he is sorry for the incident because they don't have enough employee to serve all the customers at once due to COVID's cut spending because the lockdown didn't allow foreign tourists and hurts the local economy. And he said the foreigner lady and her kid was an Australian who came to Bali shortly before the lockdown and couldn't get home. Quite funny when I already said I'm not an employee and wear different clothes than the employee. I still need to serve them because I'm a local according to that lady, and got mad when I said that. The next story is titled Made the Mistake of Wearing Blue. So on Friday, January 7th, I had gotten off work and decided to grab a few more things needed on my person while working for today. My work uniform is blue and on the back says, "Train Host." I walk up and down our train systems to make sure people aren't doing illegal things. The store I chose to go in was none other than Walmart. I had many people asking and demanding I check them out in the camping area, was looking for a flashlight due to FRA regulations, and quite a few of them got mad because I said, "Oh, I don't work here, I work for company." Either they didn't care, couldn't hear me, or didn't speak English very well. I was just as frustrated as they were because I couldn't find an associate who knew what they were doing either. Finally found a flashlight up by the registers instead of the camping and tool areas like they are at other locations. The next story is titled Lady, Your Insult Was Actually a Compliment, so thanks. So, a little backstory, I am an in-home caregiver. I have one client at the moment, and I work a split shift. I have a 4-hour window between my shifts from 10 to 2 to kill, and it was a few days after Christmas. I needed to return a few things to Kohl's. It's on the way to my house, so I figured I would stop in. We don't have a required dress code for my job. Most of us wear what is comfortable. I usually wear sweats, a t-shirt, and comfortable sneakers, because I have to transfer him in and out of his wheelchair a lot. My client and I have been working together for a while and he sees me every day, so I don't feel the need to put a bunch of makeup on or anything, so I just get dressed, throw my butt-length hair in a messy bun, and get over there. So I probably wasn't exactly dressed for Kohl's, if you know what I mean. I was feeling a bit self-conscious. But I'd be in and out, right? Right? So, I got in there and returned my stuff, and of course, my ADHD got the best of me and I wandered off into the women's clothing section. I can feel some strange looks from other shoppers, but the pull of the after Christmas sales were too much for me. As I am looking at a rack of stretchy, soft camis on sale, $20, I can feel a tense gaze on the side of my face, and I smelled the perfume before she came into the corner view of my vision. And she's just standing there. I can feel that she is waiting for me to acknowledge her, but I don't know why, so I don't. She was an older woman in her 60s, with the haircut we all know. And finally, she said, "Excuse me, where do you keep all your dresses and skirts? I can't find them anywhere in this place, and all you workers seem to be doing is playing on your phones or hiding somewhere." I just replied with, "I'm sorry ma'am, I don't work here, but I don't think they have one spot for them. I think they're kind of mixed in with everything." To this response, she looks me head to toe, and says in the snottiest tone, "Well, you look like you could work here," while walking away. I couldn't really understand what she was saying at the moment was meant to be an huge insult, because I replied with, "Thanks, I thought I looked like crap today," while looking down at myself. I think the people who work at Kohl's look really nice. The next story is titled I Was the Karen. This happened when I went for a holiday and was sitting in a pub with friends, and I was a bit tipsy. I had called my friend who lived in the city to meet up. Now just so you know, this guy thinks he is the coolest guy in the world and stuff, and was wearing sunglasses in cloudy weather when he arrived. He was sitting the chair leaning back and SHT. This description is just so you know that this guy typical self-proclaimed confident and chill guy. Coming to point, I went in to get drinks for us, but he said he didn't want any, so I only got drinks for the rest of us. We were also eating fries, we were still drinking, and I again asked if he was sure he wasn't going to get anything. He says no, but I'll have water, and proceeded to call the person standing at the door. But he wasn't loud enough, so he asked to call him, and me being drunk at this point screamed as loud as I could, "Excuse me," and called him to our table, which I agree was embarrassing. My friends yelled at me saying that was wrong. When he came over and this other friend asked for water, that guy said he didn't work at the pub but worked for the security company. I turned red with embarrassment and apologized for screaming. All the time we were there I felt sorry for making embarrassing him as well, so when we were leaving, I went up to him and apologized once again for my actions. He was being nice and said it was okay, crap happens. My friends still tease me about it. The next story is titled I guess comparing prices on your phone means you are a manager. I was at Target looking at the SSD drives. I wanted one that came with a USB-C cable so I could attach it to my phone and tablet. I checked Amazon but wanted to see what Target had. While I was standing in the aisle with my phone in my hand comparing the ones on the shelf to the ones online, not one but three people approached me asking either where something was or if I could tell them something about what they had in their hand. I've read enough posts here to know that people sometimes are just confused, but also have seen enough posts about irate Karens and Kevins to keep the chat short. I pointed at the customer service desk, which was maybe 20 steps away from me, and just said, "I'm helping someone right now, but they will help you right there." The next story is titled Fired Without Being Hired. I used to work for a larger company in the service sector. Many years ago, and it was part-time and only for about 2 months. Since then I moved and am even living in a different country. I never even thought about them, ever. Not once. Out of the blue, today, I got an email from said company informing me they have terminated my contract and may consider legal action due to abandoning my post. My first reaction: this is just a new kind of spam scam. But then I reread it carefully and it isn't spam. It looks written. My name is there in full and the sending email seems fully legit too. So now I am full on WTF, this makes no sense. I mailed back asking politely if there is someone I can speak to because there must be a mistake of some kind. I get a response about an hour later indicating a number and person I can call. So I go and do that. So I call and ask for the person. Let's call her Janet. They ask me who I am, and I tell them. Instantly her tone changes to full Karen and lectures me on my failing to show, not notifying my supervisor, and in general giving me a work ethic lecture and that there is no chance to work there again. I let her finish and then just said, "Well, Janet, I am indeed and also the CEO and co-founder of. I'm really sorry to tell you this, but I resigned from in 20XX. If you look at your display you can see I am calling from country code XX and I am now 4,000 miles away. I am not sure how I ended up being employed again, but I am confident the mistake can be found somewhere in your system." The silence was deafening and after a long time she just said, "I am very, very sorry, sir." To her credit she mailed me again later in the day to inform me that someone, instead of calling through and putting people who accepted on the roster, had messed up and put me on the roster instead of someone else. The next story is titled It Happened Again. I'm not sure what about my style of clothing, beaten down posture, or the opposite of RBF screams. I work here, but today I was approached by a very little old lady asking for raisins at a local grocery store. I, of course, had no idea about where the raisins were and said, "Unfortunately, I can't help you. I don't work here. But if I see someone who does, I'll send them your way." I had to repeat this twice because her hearing and my mask did not help with communication. She gestures towards my clothing, a puffy vest, jeans, and a baseball cap as if that's the standard uniform. It's not, but I could see me looking like a stalker, and me standing next to the pallet loader, and we laughed together. She then walks down the aisle to her equally old lady friend and they have a loud discussion about how surprised they were that I didn't work there. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.